Hello friends, I'm Deb with Cooking with Mo and Deb, and I am making a dish tonight that I'm going to cook once and use it a couple of times this week. So I wanted to get a little jump start on my menu for the week. I have bought a pork roast, and I want to show you how I'm going to make it, and then we'll talk about later what I'm going to do with it. But first thing to do is to get your pork roast. This is a 5-pound roast. You need at least 5 pounds to be able to make a couple of things with it. So I'm going to cook it and then I'll tear it apart, and I have an idea for 2 different meals to make with it. But the first thing I want to do, this is a paprika pork shoulder that I'm making, and so I'm going to mix up some seasonings to put on it. And I'll start with some black pepper. And some salt. I need a good amount because I am going to rub this. It's a rub, so I'm going to rub it all over this roast that I've got. And then the paprika. And I need a good amount of paprika, probably about 2 tablespoons of paprika. And I'll give you the exact measurements in the recipe, so no worries there. And then we're just going to stir this up. And I'm going to add a little more salt. Don't think I got quite enough salt. And then I'm going to start rubbing it all over my roast. While I'm doing that, I've got some oil heating up in my Dutch oven. I'm going to cook this on the stovetop. We're going to sear it on the stovetop, and then it's going to go into the oven for a couple of hours. So it will, it's a slow cook at 300 degrees in the oven. But first I'm going to sear it on all sides. On the top, on the bottom, on the sides. I'm going to sear it all over, and that just helps to brown it well and kind of lock in the seasonings and just get it prepared for cooking it in the oven. Okay, get a little bit more of my seasoning on this side. I'm going to use all of this seasoning all on my roast. I want it all over. Okay, I think I've got it now. So, like I said, I've got oil heating in my Dutch oven. So I'm going to bring my roast now over to the Dutch oven. See if I can move my camera so you can see as I put it in the oven. So this is heated, the oil's heated. So I'm going to put my roast in, and we're going to start the sear on all sides. It's a little heavy. There we go. So it'll take a few minutes to get it seasoned, to get it seared all over. And when it does, I've got a couple of more steps to show you. So I'll come back after we've got this going, got the sear going on. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, my roast has been seared on all sides, on top and bottom and all sides. So I'm going to attempt to take it out of my Dutch oven here. It's looking really, really nice. I'm going to set it aside for just a few minutes. I'm going to add a little more olive oil to my Dutch oven. The temperature is on about medium heat. And what you want to do is try to scrape up as much of the pan drippings, it's not drippings, but as much of what's on the bottom as you can, because that's the good part of your roast. And you're gonna want to get that all in your, let it cook with the juices that are gonna be here in your pan as your roast cooks. That's the good, the drippings, all that's the good stuff. So try to get up as much of that as you can. I am now going to add a onion. I have one chopped onion, not chopped, sliced. I'm going to add some garlic. Probably about a tablespoon or as much as you feel like. I really like garlic, so sometimes I put a little extra. And I want some rosemary. Let's stir this right quick. This Dutch oven will turn the eye down, tab. It will burn really quick, so I have to watch it. I'm also going to add some white wine to help kind of deglaze that pan and help to get all that goodness from the bottom. About a cup. There we go. You can also use chicken stock. If you'd rather use chicken stock, you can do that. Chicken or you could use vegetable stock or beef broth, whatever you have. You can use any of that. I'm going to add a little bit of thyme to this recipe and some rosemary. And if you have bay leaf, you can add a couple of bay leaves to it, but I don't have any today, so I'm going without. Thyme and rosemary is what I've added. Love that smell. Okay, now we're going to turn that eye back up. And I'm just going to cook these onions until they get a little bit glossy. And then we'll be ready to move on. I'll be right back. All right, so my onions have been cooking in the wine for just a few minutes, and I've done really good about scraping the bottom of this pan because I want to get all the goodness that's down there. I want it all to be included with my roast. So now that the onions are done, I'm ready to set my roast right on top of these onions. So let me get a hold of it right here and carefully lift it back in. Okay. And then I'm going to put the lid on. And this is now going to go into the oven. And it's going to take probably 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours to cook. I'll have to check it and see if the meat is done. And you'll know it's done after it reaches a temperature. I've got to check my thermometer to see what the exact internal temperature is for pork. It is looks like it's 185 for medium. No, 145 to 160. I'll go to 160. But I'm going to put it in the oven for 2 to 3 hours, checking the temperature. And when it's done, I will take my fork and tear it apart. And I'm going to make 2 recipes this week. One is some pork nachos, and one is either barbecue for sandwiches or a soup using this. So I will decide a little bit later what I'm going to do with it. But this is how I'm making a pork roast. So I will be back later to finish it up.